As bass anglers, most of us probably have spinner baits in our tackle boxes. They're an extremely productive lure. What you might not realize is how easy they are to make and how productive they can be compared to store-bought ones. In this episode, I'm going to show you that and more. Welcome to the Angler's Workshop. Spinnerbaits are one of the easiest lures to build, and they're highly effective. As we said when we started the show, just about probably every bass angler has them. So I'm going to show you a couple of my favorites and why I build them the way I do and when and where I fish them. I believe that all anglers are a lot more successful if they know exactly what their lures are doing on every single cast. So how I build my lures, I build them simply as tools to get a job done. With that being said, one of the first and probably the most productive spinner baits that I've ever thrown is a single spin. Let's start building that. Now, all the components we're using today can easily be purchased at Lure Parts Online, and I will give you all the part numbers as we do this. Now, the first one that we're going to build is on a little stiletto frame. It's a 3/8 ounce, and it's a closed eye or a twist frame spinnerbait. And I like throwing those, especially when I go north. And the reason I do that is because there's a lot of pike and muskies up there, and inevitably one of those is going to grab onto your spinnerbait. And with a twist bend like that, you have chances of getting that back. So that's a method to my madness behind that. Now, the single spin that I built is this 3/8 ounce stiletto frame, as I said, and this is a really, really easy build. The only thing you really need on this is a long nose pliers. And so what I'm going to do for this is I'm going to show you exactly how to do the bend on this. Now, there is a tool that you can use as well, but you can easily get away with the long nose pliers. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the wire and I'm going to bend it around in a little bit of a loop. And I'm not going to close it all the way. I'm just going to bend it about like that. That is going to be where the swivel is going to sit, and it's going to hang off the blade. Again, it's just a single spin, okay? Now, I have already put the swivel on the single spin. Now, the single spin that I'm using is called a T-blade, and the T-blade actually has twice the thickness of a regular Colorado, and they make them in sizes 3, 4, 5, and 6. The bait that I throw the most just to get bit, if I just want to get a bite on a spinnerbait, and this spinnerbait will work really good in slightly stained to muddy water, or as we have here in the Midwest, a lot of that green colored water. So this is a gold T-blade, and on the back it's actually hammered. So you have two different reflection qualities on this blade. Now, being twice the thickness of a regular Colorado, it has a lot more thump to it. However, the size 3 in this T-blade has something different than a thump. It's almost like a buzz. So in the water, on your rod tip, you will literally feel like it's like a hum or a buzz. It's completely different than any other blade that I've ever thrown, and this thing flat out gets bit. So the easiest way to do this is after I put that bend on there, then all I'm going to do is slip it over that bend, and then I'm going to take my long nose pliers and I'm going to close it. That's all I'm going to do, just like that. And if it goes a little bit farther, which it does sometimes, I'll just bend it down a little bit, and there you go. That is it right there. Now I'm going to show you a couple tricks on a spinnerbait. Usually what I'll do is I will bend the bottom wire down. Why do I do that? That actually opens up the top, so the fish has a better bite radius or more of an access to that hook. The other thing that I do is just about every spinnerbait, the hook is directly in line with the eye tie, and that works. I'm going to show you how to make it work a little bit better. I'm going to take the long nose pliers again, and I'm going to open that hook up just slightly. I want that angle going from this to this. What that does is now when the fish comes over and bites down on it, as you can see, it easily hooks. Spinnerbaits have a tendency, when a bigger bass clamps down on them, to roll over on either side. that can have a tendency to have the bait to slide and your hooking percentage not be as good. Once you open up that arm a little bit and you change that angle from here to here, now the bait starts hooking farther back in the fish's face. You get a more positive and a more consistent hook set. And that goes for any spinner bait that you throw. So that is the basis for my single spin. Now, you can match the colors any way you want. I always tell people, if you haven't thrown a bait before, start with a confidence color. Start with a color that you already like, that you already have success with. My number one color in stained and muddy water for this single spin like this is a skirt called Coleslaw. It's a chartreuse orange and white. I learned this trick back in the early 90s fishing on the Illinois River, that this was just a good contrasting color. Doesn't mean that it has to look like anything that the fish sees in the water. It has to stand out. Fish feed by sight first. The more they can see it, the better chances you are of getting bit. So what I'm going to do is I usually put white on the bottom, because the bottom of bait fish are what? They're white. That gives me more confidence doing it. With the single hole skirt, which is right here, this one is a hole-in-one skirt. I'll put the white on the bottom. Just moisten the collar up like that. This is how easy this is. Boom, boom. That's it. And I like these type of skirts because now I don't have to do any trimming. So right there, you have probably my number one, you don't probably, you do. You have my number one single spin spinnerbait of all time. It's that easy to build. The best thing about, or one of the best things about making your own lures is, on average, you can build 3 for the price of 1. There's more intelligent fishing pressure on the water now than ever before. When you can make something different, the odds are in your favor. Make it, build it, catch fish. All right, this next spinnerbait is a really cool frame. I really like this. This is our Wild Eye spinnerbait frame from Lure Parts Online. There's a couple things I want to tell you about this frame and why we designed it the way we did. First thing is, if you notice, it has that big eye. Okay, so that's that big eye. That's a good fish attracting quality. The next thing is, if you notice, the bottom comes to a V and it's broad. That allows it to come over branches and keep the bait keeled so it doesn't roll over like some standard spinnerbaits can. Love that head. The last and final thing right here is the 8 points of contact trailer keeper. When you put a trailer on now, after you slide it over, since there's 8 different points on here, all sticking a different way, your trailer's not going to slide off. It's going to hold better. It's also not going to tear up your plastic as just the single wire keepers do, because as soon as a fish grabs that little wire keeper keeps tearing because there's only 1 point of contact. With 8 points of contact, once that trailer's up there, it's going to last you a lot longer, which means you can fish it more. Okay, now it's got a really cool trocar hook on there, and I'm telling you, I'm a VMC guy and I love those hooks, but this trocar spinnerbait hook is really good on here. It's made with 0.35 wire, which gives off a lot of vibration, but not enough to where it becomes brittle and breaks. This is just one great frame. So what we're going to build on this is a combo blade on here. We're going to do a single Colorado and then a very, very cool blade that some of you serious bass anglers remember from the 90s. Used to be called the Super Dog blade. We came out with it, made our own, and now it's called the Hurricane blade. This is a deadly stained water combo when you want a big thump. So let's build that. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a clevis and I am going to take just a Colorado blade right here. And this is one of our hybrid blades. It's part gold and part silver. It just has a different flash. Instead of a constant flash in the water, it's almost like an intermittent flash. I love that. Why? It's different. I love building things that are different. So I'll put the clevis on there, put it right through here, like so. Then you're going to do it with the blade facing down toward the head. Okay? So now I'm going to thread that on there, just like that. And there is your blade. That's the first step of putting it on just like that. Now, to give me the exact spacing I want between my first blade and my second blade, I'm just going to use a pre-made spacer. I know that's kind of hard to see. Again, I'm going to put the part number so you can see them. but I'm going to slide that spacer on the wire right there. Now that is going to keep my blade separated and give it free range rotation compared to the next blade that I'm going to put on. Now I'm going to go back and take my long nose pliers and I'm going to do the same bend that I did on the first one. This is a bend that I do on all spinner baits. So once you do this, then you're going to know what to do. So we're going to bend it over. So. And bend it up like that. That's that part of it, okay? Now, here is the hurricane blade. If you notice, it's a really neat looking little blade. It's not quite an Indiana, it's not a Colorado, and we make this in a bunch of different sizes and configurations as well. But this is a size 4. This is probably my size 4 and size 5 are both great. This also works good on a single spin, but it really shines for whatever reason when you do it as a combo. So now I'm going to put this on here, just slide it over that hook that I made, and then we're going to bend this up just like so. Okay, now what I like to do on this is I like to make it just a little bit so I can bend it over just a little bit right there. Okay, now I know that is locked in place, and there is your frame. So I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to bend that wire down a little bit to give it more of an opening, and that is a frame. Getting those pre-made spacers like that will always give you the perfect size space for a bass size spinnerbait. Now this is a 3/8 ounce. I've done this on quarter, I've done it on 3/8 ounce, I've done it on half, I've done it on 3/4. This is the perfect size for me. So that's a frame itself. Now what I'm going to add on here is a really cool new skirt that we have, and this is a hybrid skirt. And what I mean by a hybrid is it's actually part silicone and part rubber. So it's got a completely different action in the water than either just pure rubber or pure silicone. To me, it's probably one of the most lively skirts that you can put on a spinnerbait or a swim jig. Or a spinnerbait or a swim jig. It just has a lot of pulsating action. And when you combine it with a blade that puts off so much vibration, you really have a really cool skirt right there. So what I'm going to do is when I have a pre-made skirt, I'm always going to take the longest part of that skirt. That is going to be the part that I'm going to slide the spinnerbait head up on. The shorter part is going to make up the inside part of the body. So again, I'm going to put the lighter color on the bottom. And with this, I'm just going to move it around just to separate the strands a little bit. I'll wet that up just like so. Slide it through here, and then we're just simply just going to push it up on the bait. Put the scales a little bit more toward the top, make that on white. That is just one good looking spinnerbait right there. And again, if I was fishing it in stained or muddy water, it's a good contrasting color. And this is something that I like. There's so many different things on here. One, you're fishing a skirt that probably a lot of people don't have, which is that hybrid skirt. You've got a spinnerbait with a big eye. You've got a spinnerbait with a head on the bottom that's going to roll over cover better, like lay down branches. You've got a hybrid blade on here that puts off an intermittent flash, and you have got this hurricane blade that puts off a different thump than you've ever felt on another spinnerbait before, and you have it on 0.35 wire. You have a spinnerbait right here that you can make that is different than most people that you can buy in a store than a store-bought one. Don't get me wrong, store-bought spinnerbaits work. We've thrown them all for years. But when you can make something your own, trust me on this one, when you start building stuff yourself, you will be more in tune with those baits because you made it. It's not something you just pulled out of the package. You put time, you put effort into this, and you put thought into it because you designed it yourself. You start making your own baits and watch how you start paying more attention to what's going on with them and what's going on because of them. Building your own baits, no question in my mind, they catch you more fish. Now, with all the part numbers we're putting up on here, you may wonder, well, what do I do when I go to Lure Parts if you're interested in building your own baits? It's pretty easy to do. So once you go to Lure Parts online, you can literally just type in spinnerbaits and watch the hundreds or thousands of options that come out between skirts, spinnerbait heads and frames, blade combinations. Think about this. We have, at Lure Parts, we have 40,000 SKUs of parts and components. That's not even including our plastic molds, if you want to make your own plastics, which I think we have over 1,000 of those that are available to you. Just about anything and everything that you want for building better baits, for making them your own, we have at Lure Parts online. And when you order something, chances are it's probably going to ship that day, at the very least the next day. So when you order your stuff, you're going to get it fast. There's always going to be somebody there to answer your questions. It's a one-stop shop. You can call, ask them something, they can direct you that, but it's easy to go to lurepartsonline.com. Whatever you're looking for, if you're looking for bladed jigs, type in bladed jigs. You'll see all the stuff that comes up. If you're looking for heavy cover jigs or finesse jigs, if you crappie guys, if you're looking for crappie jigs or making your own crappie skirts, we have all that. You walleye guys, if you want to make your own rigs, whatever you want to do, we have all of that. If you like to fly fish, we have all that. You can tie your own flies, everything. If you salmon fish, you can make your own spoons. I think you get my point. If you can think it, if you want to build it, we probably have it. With that being said, now I want to build the last one I'm going to build today. And this would be a spinnerbait that I'm going to use on just like a windy day and clear to lightly stained water. This is just going to be a great bait to represent either a shad or a herring, something like that. And I want it, a lot of times when you're fishing spinnerbaits, you really don't want the fish seeing the bait. You want them seeing a silhouette. And in this one, I want the bait to move a lot faster. Okay? And for that, I'm going to use a size 4 willow leaf blade. This is probably one of the most popular spinnerbaits that I've thrown over the years of just, hey, I'm getting to a new lake or a new area and I want to check something out. A double willow leaf is going to be one of my best bets. So let's start building that one. Again, I'm going to use that Wild Eye spinnerbait frame. I really like that. We've talked about all the reasons why that thing is so good. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with that clevis. Now the blades I'm using here are our Miramax blades. Okay, and they put off just a brilliant flash, and we have them in a bunch of different sizes and configurations, and this is just a size 4 nickel. That's all that is. Okay, so I'm going to start with that, and then we're going to thread this on after I put it on the clevis. That's it right there. Hey, if you're ever in doubt what spinnerbait blade combination to throw one gold and one silver. That way you got all the bases covered and you're not freaking out. Is this going to be right or is this going to be wrong? Most of the time, if you build it and you have confidence in it, I would rather throw a bait that I have confidence in and throw it in the wrong spot than have, oh, I got to have this certain color and not do that. If you have confidence in it, chances are you're going to fish the bait better. You're going to catch fish on it. Okay, so this is how we're going to start. We're going to start with that silver blade right there. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add that spacer again because I want to separate those blades. So all I do there is thread that on. There's that. I really like how that separates the blades a lot. So that's real nice and easy right there. Then we're going to take the long nose pliers again. We're going to bend this around just like so. Get it real close to where I want. Another reason I do this too is because before I'd go to lay the spinnerbait down on the table to go put the swivel on, lay it down, and everything would just slide right off the bait. So now if you bend that, if you happen to lay the bait down, if you have to go do something, you don't have to worry about doing it all over again. So now I've already put that spinnerbait swivel on there. And just so you know, if you're wondering what size that swivel is, again, when you go to Lure Parts, just type in spinnerbait swivel. The one size will come up. That's the most popular, and I use that same one for all of them. So now I've got the Miramax hybrid blade on there, part gold, part silver. Slide that on there like so. And then we're going to clip that or press that together like that. Now, if it gets a little bit off like that, all I got to do is do that. And a little trick for you all here, I don't have on just right here with me, but if you ever press this too much and you have an end sticking up, all you got to do is take a wire cutters, put it over a garbage can. If you notice I'm wearing glasses, it's not just because I see better this way. Whenever I'm working with wire and clipping things, I want to have something over my eyes to protect that. So make sure you have safety glasses or glasses on of some kind. And if you have that wire stick up a little bit more than you like, simply take a wire cutters, put that over a garbage can, or you know where that part's going to do, clip it off and you'll be fine. Well, that is the body of the spinnerbait right there. Now I'm going to show you that skirt, which I love this one. This is a sexy shad skirt. Again, it's white on the bottom. It's got blue here and a little bit of that shadish type gold or yellow. This is such a good multi-purpose bait fish skirt. This has worked just about everywhere across the country that I've thrown this. And again, so easy with that hole-in-one application. It is that quick. No trimming, no nothing. And now you have your spinnerbait. Again, I'm going to bend that up a little bit, press that down, and there you have just a perfect all-purpose dual willow lay spinnerbait. Well, there you have it. That's how easy it is to make your own spinnerbaits. And as I said before, at Lure Parts Online, you can build 3 for the price of 1 store-bought one. And when you come to think about it, why wouldn't you want to? If you can build something exactly the way you want in any combination that you want that other people might not know about or that gives you more confidence, why wouldn't you want to build that? Everything that you need when it comes to building baits, you can find at Lure Parts Online. You can also message us if you want to follow Jim Crowley Outdoors on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, and on TikTok. We're always doing lure building and more stuff on there. Anything we can do to help you, help yourself to become a better angler, that's what I'm interested in. I want you catching more fish and having more fun when you're doing it. When you come right down to it, how cool would it be to be able to build these baits with your son or with your daughter, take them fishing and catch fish on lures that you made? I don't think there's anything that can really beat that. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I sure appreciate you being here. God bless you. I'm Jim Crowley. Thanks for watching The Angler's Workshop.